Live. And welcome to the Coaching Collective Live, where we are redefining the coaching industry through candid conversations with coaches. And our intention here is truly to drive integrity and elevate the entire coaching industry through these transparent conversations with high integrity coaches. And today I'm so excited to be here with Pete Ambrosino, and he is an international business coach and author, among many other things. But today we're going to be focused on talking about irresistible offers. And all I can say to start out, Pete, is welcome. And thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much, Michelle. It's a pleasure to be here and sharing this space with you today. And I really look forward to getting started and adding value to everyone that we touch today. It's going to be exciting.
Yes, it is. So I know that this irresistible offer is kind of a buzzword that everybody hears. What does that really mean to you? What is an irresistible offer?
You know, it's a great question. The irresistible offer should put the message into your ideal client's mind that I would absolutely be crazy not to do business with you because of this offer. And when I talk to my clients, or if I'm out at a networking event and give that person the opportunity to say, tell me why someone would pick you to do business with over your competition. Tell me your elevator pitch. Tell me what you do. Give you that 30 seconds, right? The crash and burn rate is so high. It's incredible. And most believe that the old way of our unique selling proposition is the way to go.
Okay, that's interesting. So usually people freeze up is that what you're saying? Like you say, so give me your elevator pitch. And what you're saying is that elevator pitch should actually be the offer that's irresistible.
Well,
like you need to be able to articulate that.
You need to be able to articulate that. It's part of the fourth step in creating your message or your dominant position that you hold. So for example, if let's say I'm a dentist and we meet and you look like you have amazing teeth, and I'm really not going to sell you anything, but you ask me, say, what do you do? So well, I'm in the dental industry. I've been in have had my practice for 20 years and I help people with fillings. Well, that's really not separating you from any other dentist, right?
Right.
But if I reframe that into something like, I restore people's confidence to feel the most amazing that they've ever felt by giving them their smile back.
Right.
Now I've just evoked emotion in what and how I came across, right? And if that interests you, or if you feel that you may need something, then that's going to change the conversation.
Yeah. So I know that a lot of the people we're speaking to are on LinkedIn today, and it's a pretty savvy audience. And there's this whole thing about LinkedIn profiles where there's a template that you should say, well, this is one approach I know that I've heard, where you should say, I do, or I serve blank, or I help women in midlife create the life of their dreams, or something like that. And the more niche down you get, that's supposed to be better. Is that what you're saying? Like, is that like a tagline that really includes an offer?
Sort of. It's more about and you're right on the right track when you said that the direction of focus is on me and not the perception or the client's perspective.
Yes.
So
okay.
Flipping that and explaining how I change lives, how I change the way you feel. from the client's perspective. I don't care about how amazing of a coach I am, that I've got all these certifications and It's no, transform people's lives, businesses, family trees, and going into the describing what life is like when you're in my world. From the client's perspective, we've got to get the finger away from us and back out again, because we think that people look at what our accomplishments are, and that's why they pick us, and it's really not. It's about the experience or the results. And if I can make an irresistible offer around the results, or one of the 8 ways to make an irresistible offer is to remove all risk. How many money back guarantees have you heard? Right? Do you have could you have a money back guarantee in a dental practice? You certainly could.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
No, most are really afraid of doing it. That's where the challenge is. It's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't do that if I give money back. Oh my God, right? But that's where the secret is, and that's where if we get over that hump and create that position, it'll change your business.
I really love that, Pete. And I think that, we're dealing with a really savvy world. Everyone has been marketed to and overstimulated and cheated and lied to, right? Like we've all done that. So even today, when you see the golden seal that says money back guarantee, usually what goes into your head? It's like, oh yeah, right. Like we're super skeptical. So then we go, well, did you read the fine? We've all been educated. Did you read the fine print? And honestly, I think most people don't. They just think, okay, well, that allows me to go to the next step. And so I want to ask you, is that even enough? I know there are more than one, there's more than one step because you said 8 steps, but is that even enough to guarantee your services?
No, you know what? It may not be. And quite honestly, you might need to interact with or have some social proof in with that, because you're right. Everybody's we'll call it BS meter is on high alert, right?
Yeah.
And you must certainly have gained rapport first to build that trust. And when I give you that offer, or if I am even offering it to you, I must first have established that rapport, and that's super important. But yeah, you don't want to come across slimy. You don't want to come across like it's too good to be true. It has to be sincere and from your heart that, hey, I own the results that I'm providing, and for that I'm going to remove risk in this way. Or it could be spend 2 months in a program, and the main 2 goals that you set to achieve within the program, if you don't get there, you give all your money back. But you have to show up, you've got to do the homework, and you have to be present when we something like that. And then create that. Now it's like it's a no-brainer. They want to get those goals. I know if they show up, I can make that happen. And it's where that certainty exists that most don't dig in. And I can relate it to, I was just on the phone with this gentleman out of Texas this morning, and he owns a health magazine that all things natural and holistic magazine that promotes that type of thing, right?
Yeah.
He was telling me that his sales pre-COVID are 50% lower than what they were 2 years ago. Now, he's selling advertising. He has a niche market with healthy people. That there's an amazing opportunity there that he can take, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
It makes no sense. It's old school advertising, right? But it still works because the magazine or whatever is free, and whoever is into health and nutrition is looking through it, they're going to find a service provider.
Right.
None of his process of marketing his business has any type of guarantee of results for the people that want to spend money with him. Zero. Nothing from the client's perspective. Oh, you're this type of practitioner. Oh, we'd love to have you in there. We'll write an article about you. Big deal.
You know, what's coming to my mind as you're speaking is that we tend to get really academic about these things, you know, and there's a place for that. But in doing so, we forget that all we are really doing is building a relationship with people. So when you're saying that, just give them a guarantee. People just want to know they're safe. And we are so skeptical because everyone is coming out of some version of marketing trauma, you know, like what they bought, the buyer's remorse or whatever. And so I love what you're saying, because truly that's the first step. When you build some rapport, like they have to have some reason, like, okay, this is interesting to me. They have to have some need. And then you've got to make it safe. So how else do you do that? Like, let's say I come to you and I'm looking for, because you're a coach, right? And I'm saying, okay, this is where my business is. And this is a lot of the people that we deal with, like in the summits we're doing and everything. People show up and they're like, I started this business. I got it thus far. And now I totally don't know what to do. I need a coach. And then they're in this sea of coaches. And now what?
Right.
They're going to be attracted to someone, but then what? They've got to feel safe. So how do you carry them down that road?
So it depends on where they're at and where the block might be. But I would say the common thing, the common thread that I see all the time is that most of them, they kind of know what business that they're in, but they don't really know what they really do.
Oh, and that's funny. Yeah. That's like the drill in the whole conversation. Yes.
Yeah. What are you really doing? What's the results? What are you really doing for your client? What are they feeling and why do they love you? Right. And when we start digging into that, like they'll use the dentist as an example, right? He's not in the dental business.
Yeah.
He's really not. And that's where, when they lose track of that and they're trying to conform what they do to all these different levels of customers, and they're not laser focused on who they really love to help.
Yeah.
I'll use myself as an example. I love entrepreneurs. I love people that they are the riskiest, you know, risk takers on the planet, right? Because they're doing the highest risk thing that you could ever do in business, right? And their spirit is amazing because they believe that the gold is there, and they just don't know where it's at. We're just going to go dig, right?
Those foolish dreamers.
They're all nuts. But that's the thing, and that's the thing. Once we pull them into what is super important to the client, and when we can make an offer and we dig into, here's another example. Let's talk about a bookkeeper for a moment. What do you think a bookkeeper does?
Makes me feel unorganized. No, a bookkeeper is really supposed to just organize the books, right?
Do accurate entries.
It's like balancing a checkbook, kind of. It's not the advice. Well, actually, we've had this conversation twice. They are not advisors.
No.
So go ahead.
So you're right. So you expect that maybe they're entering the data from your credit cards and balancing and reconciling and just giving you these reports every month, right?
Exactly.
Whereas what they really are doing in the background, and most of them don't realize this, but they're looking at every single expense category for me every single month, and they all of a sudden might notice a spike, and they'll bring it to the owner's attention and say, "Hey, did you know, why did your gas why did your gas expense? I mean, we know gas prices are going up, but the point is that there's a trend on the amount of usage, right? So
Mhm.
they might notice an expense go out of control or something like that. Now, every dollar that they find in wasted expense or a mistake in a billing or whatever that
Yeah,
was, the full value of that dollar goes directly to the profit margin. It's not subject to cost of goods anymore.
that's true.
So what's a bookkeeper really doing? Watching your wallet, similar to, let's say, a fractional CFO,
That's true. And that's
right?
the real value, but that none of them are saying that.
They don't know how to, they never dig in and they actually come out with, oh my gosh, I'm watching this guy's pennies and and now that gives him peace of mind to go out and do what he's doing and not have to worry about a hole having to be plugged in his expense category, you know?
Yes. So the first part of creating this irresistible offer, it sounds like it's really just self-awareness from the business itself. Like, who are you and what is your value? So, but that's not to be confused with just having their clarity on their value proposition,
That's
right?
right.
So how are you differentiating that? So I come to you as a business owner and I do whatever, I'm the bookkeeper or whatever, the more I can, the better I am at communicating the true value,
Mhm.
the better you're going to feel. And then immediately we're creating that conversation. The next thing after that is to create safety. Is that what you're saying?
Mm. Yeah,
So
for sure.
clarity and then safety by like guaranteeing.
I'll tell you exactly what you're going down the right path here, because I'm going to tell you, if you don't believe and you can stick your chin out and say, no, this is what I do for my clients because I love them and I do more for them than any other bookkeeper on the planet because this is how I take care of them.
Yes.
And don't blink and deliver that certainty to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people are buying. They're not buying your bookkeeping service. They're buying the certainty that you have in the fact that I've got your back. And that's the dig and the digging in to where you have that in you that you can convey it the same as I just did.
It is so fascinating. It's always just communication and relationships, isn't it? And
100%.
I mean, really what you're talking about is the entire sales process.
Mhm.
And when you go through that on either end, you're really like, think about it when you're buying something, anybody that's watching this or hiring a coach or, whatever it is, a dentist, you're just looking for certainty.
Yep.
And so that's our job in creating the offer. But I think what people do is first of all, they get, like I said, really academic about it and they follow they try to copy what someone else is doing and it's not making sense. So, okay, so let's say we understand who we are, what we're
Mhm.
offering, we're going to guarantee it. And I can look the person in the eye and say, this is exactly what I do and what I'm going to deliver. And I'm committed to doing that. Are you going to take us to step 3 or do we have to wait for next week? Take us to
Mm.
step 3. If
So
you
so let me ask you, what would be step 3 if for
Well, I
you?
mean, I'm thinking of this from I can't help thinking except what I do. And I have this notion, and I am constantly playing with this, by the way, because what you say and what people hear are so often different. And we
Yeah.
really have to reach them where they are. And the more, like when I'm coaching, the more I understand my client or the
Yep.
person that I tend to get really good results with, I can tell you that just spontaneously, I would say I help women in midlife drop their trauma and drama and create the life of their dreams through playful
Mhm.
activity, transformational play, because they're really rigid, right? And so those are the people I know I can guarantee. Other people might come in for different things, and then the message is different. So,
So I might invite you to think about describing what that play means.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And to actually the next step around that, if it was my turn, if I've given you my offer and I've told you what I do and how amazing it's going to be and what life is going to be like,
Mm-hmm.
now I need to take the pressure out of the balloon there, because I don't want to make you feel like I'm trying to sell you.
Exactly. And you're
That has got to go away.
Yes. And I really think that I'm so interested in that, because from a sales perspective, it's very much about opening a doorway and allowing people to take the thing they really need. And
Right.
I think if you're coming from a place of true integrity,
Yep.
that comes through in all of your messaging, right?
Yep.
But it's also like people hear weird things. And people are really guarded. So there are all these different pieces of it. So, okay. So then you are describing more detail about what you are actually, the end result, how you're going to get to the end result, right? So this is who I am. This is what I do. And this is the pathway that we're going to walk together so that you can actually accomplish what you want. And then they're starting to breathe, right? So I think that's all
And
part.
there's another little twist you can put in there.
Mm-hmm.
The offer may not have to be directed at the person you're talking to.
Oh, interesting. Talk about that.
You can structure it or just frame it in a way that says, I love helping business owners and their families and veterans. And if you know anybody who's looking to increase their revenue and profits without changing their marketing and advertising budget, I would love a warm handoff, because you know what? My business is based on referrals, and I would love to take care of somebody that that could need, you know what I'm saying? So you can just redirect it. And now it takes the pressure out. I'm not selling you. I'm just, hey, this is what I do. I love doing it. I love my clients, and this is how amazing it's going to be.
I really love that. I always like to think of myself on the other side of that and what I experience. And there's that old saying that salespeople love to be sold. And I think it's so true. I've been in so many, I've literally been in conversations with a salesperson that won't sell me. And I've literally said, I'm trying to help you help me buy this. I want this so much. I just want you to know I love these shoes and they're way out of my budget. And if you would just help me over the edge, I would be so happy, but people, they don't do that. And so when you're saying that, I've been in then you have the fear of missing out comes in, right?
Yep.
Like, oh my gosh, that guy's going to go help all these people with their books. And I'm going to be sitting here in my pile of mess. Yes, I want that. So it's just, and it's not manipulation. It's integrity with the ability to communicate. And it's the way you do it. So yeah, I love this conversation.
Yeah. And timing is everything. It's not like, to kind of back up just a moment, everybody in this coaching industry and the flavor of what we're doing is giving people more choices, better ways of making a choice of a coach, right? No matter what area of your life you need this coaching in, maybe you've never even experienced what it's like having a coach on your team, right? The point of it is that you may or may not be ready to give that commitment, because it's kind of like a mini relationship. It's like, oh my gosh, I've got to meet with you once a week on time, and I got to be in this, and all these rules are in place. Well, you have to meet them where they are and say, okay, what are your outcomes that you're looking for? Do they align with what I can provide for you? And, is it really something that, I don't want you to have buyer's remorse after you write this fat check. So you have to be 1,000% on board that this is what I want. I know I can show up, and that's where that alignment has to happen as well, and that the rapport building, and if the sparks aren't flying at that point, then maybe we should, switch gears for a moment. And that's where it's not a sales tactic. It's more of I need to feel who I'm talking with. You know what I mean? I really need to be where they are and meet them there.
Yeah, I think this is actually true. It's a much deeper conversation than it seems like on the surface. Because this idea of an irresistible offer, if you're making an offer to me as a consumer, then what's irresistible to me is knowing that I'm going to get my need met and I'm going to actually have results, and I'm going to not be in too much pain as I do it. Right? Like those are like, from a consumer standpoint, I'm thinking, is this really going to work? I really want it to work. Most people have had bad experiences with every product or service. So this time, is it going to be this time? And are you the right person to take me there? And you're sharing with us how to answer those questions so that you can then move into a deeper relationship and actually do the whole reason we're in business is to serve, right? So
100%. And the offer has to be sincere. It has to be something that you believe in. Maybe it's something that you may have never even thought was important to your client, but deep down, because here's the thing, coaches, it's something intangible that we're selling. You can't touch it, right? So we have to find a way. What can we touch? What can we feel? What can we stand behind? What can we stand for? What can we stand against? And then align with that person that can help you and walk aside you through all those challenges, hurdles, whatever's going on in life, and get you through that gate. And that's I really can't imagine. I mean, I've had, and I don't know about you, I'm never without a coach.
Yeah.
So I'm always, a fan of having, walking the walk and being accountable to somebody, because most of us are out there by ourselves. And most businesses feel the same way. And when they don't feel confident in giving some type of irresistible offer to their client, or they can, or their irresistible offer could be something like this. We've been in business for so long. We've been in business for 20 years. We've got the best selection with the lowest prices and the greatest location. What is that? Yeah. Everybody's saying that.
Right.
Right. It's not differentiating a thing from your competition. And that's where we start. We have to start with looking at who's our top competitors. What are they saying? And what are they not saying? What are they saying that they can say? What are they saying or what can't they say that you can say? That's the big question.
Yeah. And honestly, when I'm thinking of all the variety of different small businesses, it's really imperative that question is answered. And I'm just thinking of all the small businesses I've worked with over the years, how they come in really excited because they know in their heart, right? And then the first thing they find out is, I'm not the only one doing this. I mean, they kind of know that, but they think they're so unique that it's going to be obvious. And it's not.
It's not.
So everything truly starts here. It's like understanding who you are and who your clients are or your customer. It sounds like such an obvious thing. Well, I know who I am. I know who I'm going to serve, but taking a deeper dive. So I think this is a conversation, honestly, we could continue and go deeper with, if you're open to that, maybe next week.
Yeah.
Why do you think in terms of not just coaches, because that's a whole nother conversation, but small business owners, why do you think they are not clear on like who they're serving or how they are different?
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a great question. I don't think that most of them realize how important it really is.
I mean,
And
think of all the restaurants.
oh yeah.
I
And
think, yeah, go ahead.
here's the other thing too. We don't naturally feel good about bragging about ourselves or talking
Yeah.
about how you can't, you know what I mean? It's just not, it's
Yes.
not built in with us. We
Oh,
don't do, we don't want to come across as braggadocious or, whatever that looks like and how it makes us feel, sit there patting myself on the back, like, oh my God, I'm so amazing. You know what I mean? No. But the way to formulate that so that it conveys the right message to the client, whomever it is, and it must be the ideal client. That's the first step is
I have to agree 1,000%. That is like what do you call it? Like the kingpin or the cornerstone.
Yep.
If you don't know who that is, that's why so many people's elevator speech, like if you go to a networking event at the chamber or something, it almost sounds like a question when you ask them, and they'll be like, I had and and it's really because they're trying to fit themselves into a formulaic equation that's going to be effective, but they aren't really certain themselves. It's hard to take someone from doubt to certainty when you're a little confused. So this is one of the most powerful conversations. It's almost to me like when you really go deep on what your values are, that's what this is in a different way, because it's the foundation for everything else in your business.
Yep, absolutely.
It's powerful.
And that's quite honestly, that's where the hump lies, is once that focus happens, there's some pain associated with weeding out the ones that are not loyal and they're kind of looking for the cheap price and the discount this, discount that. But then when you dial into the ones that are like, oh my God, you've been here before, you know how to get me out of this because you've walked this before. Or you've been in this relationship piece, or, I can help you create the life of your dreams by having more play because you're doing it.
I'm thinking of, I know we're going over time. I'm just warning you that we're going over time a little bit, but this is so valuable. And I know I can go on with you forever, but what's coming to my mind is like so you're talking about coaches and, the service products that are not always so much like, here's the cream that's going to take the wrinkle away or whatever. Right. And so many people are struggling right now in small business too. So small business owners, listen to all this free information that Pete is sharing. If you don't have a coach, it's really helpful to have one. And I'm not like throwing out a pitch, but I'm just saying there are ways that people could actually come and work with you or call me and I'll introduce them to you or whatever. But what I was thinking is, even like I have clients who are photographers, who are saying, and who are in restaurant and medical spas and hair salons and different businesses where they've been giving discounts and giving things away for free. So like, for example, with a photographer, I loved what you said about paying, because that could even apply to them. How many times have you had that you've paid the discounted price and you get the headshot that you're just kind of like, oh, it's okay. But you have to be able to communicate the value really quickly and guarantee that that person is going to feel good. And when people pay less or they get something for free, they really aren't invested in the outcome. They're really just
No,
kind of doing their like token effort, right?
it's true. And you might even be doing somebody a disservice by not charging them enough.
Yes,
Because
that's
if you did charge them enough, you could pack in so much value to them that the headshot is going to be for example, the best headshot you've ever had. You're going to look the most sexy you've ever been, and we're going to take 5 years off your life.
mhm.
And if I start talking in that language, now it's like, hey, most people will pay when they feel they're getting 4 times the value, they'll
Yeah.
pay twice the price.
Yeah. And we're looking for a feeling. We
Yeah.
just want to feel something,
Yeah.
whatever that is. The same with restaurants and everything. Okay, well, this is great. So an irresistible offer, and it applies to every business, whether it's a service or a product. Honestly, and then you can apply these things to so many different areas of your life as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So
And you know what, next time we'll talk about the 8 different ways and maybe get some examples and maybe bounce some ideas back and forth on, what could be those 8 examples. And it's pretty powerful. But the last piece of that is that when there is a step 4.
okay,
The
let's talk
step
about step 4 before we go.
This is where we'll go. The step 4 is we have to over deliver,
Yes.
because now the lifetime value of that client kicks in, because now they're not just a client. And I like to talk to, they're not my customers, they're my clients, right? But if I over deliver, boy, you're going to refer the heck out of me, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because this is where, and this goes back to like J. Abraham and all that, like who, I mean, it's so practical. It's so logical. It's so much about just being a really stand-up guy, right? Like
Well,
human.
and
And it's
people
so
right now, people are retracting, and they're shuddering in that 4-letter word fear right now.
yeah.
Right? So everybody's pulling back and saying, "Oh my God, my prices are too high. I have to discount. I have to do this. I have to do that because look at my competition right now." Well, there's the BS coming again, right? The BS meter's happening. So
It is. Okay, keep going. And I want to say something to that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's just one of those things where that's the most important time to dig in with a client is when everyone else is afraid. How do we dig in and how do we do more?
Oh,
And
I so love that. I just love it. I agree with you so much. I know I just interrupted you. I'm sorry.
no, it's great. It's
I
okay.
love talking with you. And it's because we are aligned with that integrity. When that contraction comes, and especially, and with whether it doesn't matter, even in small business, if you consciously expand and start pouring out more, look at what the restaurants did, like they're
Hmm.
already in hospitality and they're like, hey, no problem, we're going to deliver your alcohol, we're going to do, during COVID, the shutdown, they expanded or they closed.
Yeah.
It's like there wasn't much in between. And the more we learn that, honestly, as a world, to just open and pour more when you are afraid,
Yes.
you'll be amazed at what will happen.
Yeah.
And then you're really setting the precedent for how other people can act as well. And your clients will feel it and your business will multiply. It's just counterintuitive, kind of.
Us as business owners, we don't have the support system. We're sitting there
That's
feeling,
why we need a coach. That's why you've got to have a coach.
or a mastermind or a group.
Yeah.
It's whether you hire a coach or get into a mastermind with like-minded business owners that hold each other accountable. I'm a huge fan of that. I'm accountable to a couple masterminds actually myself, and it's where you get multiple perspectives, right?
Yeah.
Business owners love sharing their highest and best ideas that have made them the most money this year or that had the most impact on their clients. Everybody's willing to share and help each other. We just don't ask. We just kind of
Just
get, we just
don't
kind of go in
ask.
our shell like a turtle and be
Yeah.
like, right?
Mm. Well, we could talk for hours. I love, so number 4 is over deliver.
Mhm.
And that kind of loops back to everything else, right? Because then you're deepening that relationship and you're taking them further down the road to certainty. And then they're referring people to you, and then you get to do it all over again. But it really does start with, who are you? Who is your client? What was the next one? Rapport, obviously.
Yep. Yep.
And then guarantee.
Yep. What
And
kind
then,
of guarantee? It could be, you know, and it could also be, it may not have to be a guarantee. It's just, that's one of the ways. Like there's risk removal, risk reversal, you know, and then there's the social proof thing. May not have a guarantee, but it's somebody else that has experienced what that life is like with your product or service, right?
right, yeah.
And that's not you saying it, it's someone else saying it for you, right? That is so important. But most don't dig for why I'm really amazing in bookkeeping. What am I really doing for the client as a bookkeeper?
Yeah.
You know, I'm watching your wallet from bleeding right now is what I'm doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
incredible when they open up and when people start digging in going, oh my God, I never realized I did that for my clients. Oh my God, I never realized that's what they thought was important, because you know what? They never interviewed their clients that love them.
Well, and with coaching, it can be tricky because you have those moments where the transformation occurs. And it's
Mm.
almost like, okay, this is where this thing is happening for that person. And you want to like snapshot it, like
Oh yeah.
this is the transformational moment. And you really want them to dig and experience that and find that inside themselves. You're not putting that on them. So, yeah, I think the whole conversation is really, really fascinating, and everybody needs to be looking for value. What am I really doing? And when you know that, it's really much easier to not discount your photography service or your dating service or whatever it is.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Discounting is definitely something that is a hard conversation for most to have, but I'm not a fan. That's for sure.
Mhm.
But
Well,
no,
people
this has
think
been
that
great.
they think that they're meeting your need of guarantee,
Oh yeah.
of risk mitigation.
Yep.
So people think like, well, why don't you try it? But well, that is a whole nother conversation. It doesn't work because it lowers everything.
No,
So,
you know, and to your point, I'll give you an example. There was this tea company out of the UK that when we first started together, the first thing we dove into was what was the gross margin on the tea, right? And then we looked at, okay, what's the first experience with a client when they first buy your tea?
yeah.
We dug into it, and she was making in fact, it cost her money for the first person to have the experience with the tea,
Mm-hmm.
and then no follow-up from there. I
Follow?
mean,
It's a whole nother conversation.
that's a whole nother conversation. But I
Yeah.
mean, the point was that the offer was, I'm going to just give away. I mean, she literally gave the person the first experience, but it wasn't the type of offer that created the repeat client. It didn't give the value so that they would come back for more each time or get that commitment, because
Wow,
I'm
that's
it,
so
it,
painful. Yeah.
it, and you can apply it to any kind of business. It doesn't matter what business you're in.
Well, yeah. Oh my gosh. I wish we could just talk for hours, and we will be. So
It's okay.
listen, world, we will be back next week. That is something I think we should talk about again.
Yep.
because that's a really, really important thing, and everybody does it.
Yeah.
And businesses, it's simple but complicated, right? Because you really are building this relationship, and we don't think of it that we're like, what, come on, once you drink this tea, it
It
is
sells itself.
dating. It's like you're gonna, like, you go on one date and no, well, that's not, let's not go there. But
Oh,
yeah,
she'll call me. Yeah, she'll call me. I'm gonna go to the, I'm so special. She's gonna call me, right? No. There's no follow-up.
well, I'll share my experience around that some other time. But yes, this is really powerful. I'm so excited to have you here, Pete, and thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
And we are actually going to be here, hopefully, I think it'll work out, every single Wednesday at 12:30 Mountain Time. That would be 1:30 Central Time, I don't know, 2:30 Eastern Time, and an hour earlier, 11:30 Pacific Time. I think I got that right. And then next week, all the time will change, or in a couple of weeks. So we'll go through that again. But this is, so I am your host, Michelle Oliver, and I am with the Coaching Collective. And we do have a free summit that interviews all kinds of coaches from different niches. And I'm going to put that link in, in the comments, I guess, or the description of this video. And then Pete, also, there is an invitation anytime, if you feel like you really connect with him and you would like to learn more about him, we will have a special link that you can connect, possibly on a phone call. Pete, is that a possibility? Something like that.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
We are here to support you, though, and provide information and value. And I'm just thrilled that you're here. So we're trying to.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure, and I loved bouncing these ideas, and I can't wait to see who we've helped today.
Great. Well, we will be back next week, and be safe. I know you're in Florida. Be safe. Yep. And sending lots of prayers and happy thoughts your way.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
See ya.
Ciao.